our colleague Gabriel Lassetti, and he's the executive superintendent, and he's presenting our institutional partner for today's webinar, ABH2. So, Gabriel, we're very, very pleased to be hosting this initiative in partnership with ABH2. And sorry, I'm so used to speaking Portuguese and name. When in English, I'm doing it slowly. But it's amazing that we have such a brilliant lineup, and we have such a good audience today with us. So welcome to the stage, and let me introduce you. So Gabriel holds a PhD in transport engineering and a degree in mechanical engineering from UFRJ. He's a researcher at the Hydrogen Laboratory at COP UFRJ and has been active in sustainable technologies, hydrogen and hybrid vehicles since 2015. As executive superintendent at Brazil Hydrogen Association, he acts towards advancing hydrogen technologies and also contributes to ISO TC 197, where he is the project leader of IS 19870-1 and participates in the ABNT at NCEE 067 on hydrogen technologies. So Gabriel, now we'll definitely can see you. Let's check if we can hear you.
Sound.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, over to you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Clarice, and thank you so much for this invitation. Thank you so much for this partnership. I think this has already been a very, very successful partnership. I'd like to thank also all the participants that are online here with us. Well, I'm coming on the stage to give you some words on the Brazilian Hydrogen Association and why hydrogen is so important for the economy. It's so important to create jobs, and just to give a general introduction for our speakers going to their own projects. So the Brazilian Hydrogen Association is a very young association. It was founded in 2017, and its goal is to promote the hydrogen supply chain. Before that, we used to have in Brazil, at the end of this sentence over here, but ABH2 has had a very important international presence, international activities. So we scrapped that off, and now it's promoting the hydrogen supply chain in general in the world. And in 2021, ABH2 had about 3 institutional members. Those are the companies that make up the Brazilian Hydrogen Association. And now they are about 100. So it goes to show how much hydrogen energy has grown in Brazil in the past 3 to 4 years, and how much the Brazilian Hydrogen Association has also grown. And ABH2 has 3 different hats. One that is more like a sectorial association, that is to bring the voices and to bring the will of its company members to the public hour. And in that regard, we participate in the Congress, in the upper chambers for the creation of public policies. We participated in all the steps for the creation of the hydrogen legal framework that has just been released in the second semester of this year. We work very closely with the public agencies such as ANP, but not exclusively with ANP. And we participated since the beginning of the National Hydrogen Strategy, that is the PNH2. ABH2 is actually one of the 2 only institutions that is a member that has a seat in all the thematic chambers that composes the PNH2, the Brazilian National Strategy. And ABH2 has a branch inside the association that is called Hydrogen Council, but in Portuguese it's the Conselho do Hidrogênio, in which the most important themes for opening the hydrogen market in Brazil are discussed among its institutional members. So in this beginning of this market, in the beginning of this nascent market, the regulations is the topic that is most being focused on in the Hydrogen Council ABH2. And we do have another head that is more for disseminating, for spreading reliable technical information for hydrogen. In that regard, we do have our own conference, that is the Brazilian Hydrogen Congress. We had the 3rd edition of this Congress in 2023, last year. It was here in Rio de Janeiro. It was a very big Congress. We had more than 4,000 people. And we also participate and support, organize podcasts, webinars, workshops, and so on. And we have a 3rd hat that is a much more technical hat, that is for creating information for hydrogen. So using that hat, we maintain the Commission for Special Studies in ABNT, the Commission for Hydrogen Technologies in EVT that translates ISO and IEC standards to be used in Brazil to be transformed into MPRs. We have representatives in IPG, that is the International Partnership for Hydrogen Fuel Cells and Economy, since the creation of the IPG. And we do have representatives in ISO for creating standards for hydrogen. I am one of them, for example. So next slide, please. Yes. So during the year of 2024, EVT2 has joined many different initiatives and signed many different MOUs, for example, with the France Hydrogène, that is the French Hydrogen Association. We have been in a technical mission in the United Kingdom that was headed by the Ministry of Mines and Energy, which in the end culminated with the UK Hubs program here in Brazil. We have also headed a delegation of companies into the UK in May of this year. We have signed MOUs with MEDEF. MEDEF is a French conglomerate of industries, international industries. We have signed MOU with the United Kingdom Hydrogen Association, with the H2 Global Clusters. Next slide, please. Yeah, and we have joined many different events in Brazil and worldwide. I think that we have one more slide more. Yes, and we also participate in many different public audiences in the upper and the lower chambers of the Congress and conferences such as the High Evolution. I think this is the last one. Thank you so much, and back to you, Clarice.
Thank you for the introduction, and it's impressive to see the footprint of what the association has achieved so far. So let's start now. Let's invite to our stage our first speaker of the day. And Marco, I would like to invite you. Marco has a degree in international relations from the Rio de Janeiro Federal University, UFRJ, and he is the hydrogen CCS energy analyst for the Americas on the CapEx area in the market intelligence team at EIC, working daily with EIC data stream. Hi Marco, I can see you already. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Alright, so can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, perfect. So welcome.
Thank you, Clarice, and everyone here attending the webinar. So today I'll give you an overview of what's been going on in Brazil's clean hydrogen market. So please know that all the insights collated here have been extracted from EIC's CAPEX database, the EIC data stream. So on to the next slide, please. So much of this presentation is dedicated to the hydrogen market in Brazil, but before we start talking about these hydrogen opportunities, I would like to give you an overview of what we currently track on DataStream in Brazil. So to the left, you can see the key sectors that we track by number of projects. So we are now tracking over 1,030 projects in Brazil, and in those projects, 51% belongs to the renewable sector, mainly solar PV and onshore wind, but we also have been seeing the increase of new offshore wind projects as well. In renewables, we also track hydropower modernizations, which are also a great opportunity for the supply chain related to the clean energy sector. But beyond renewables, approximately 30% of the projects are associated with the oil and gas market, consisting of upstream, midstream, and downstream. They are mainly refineries, upgrades, and field development projects, but we are also seeing an increase in relevance of biofuels projects within downstream, such as sustainable aviation fuels, biomethane, ethanol, and renewable diesel. So to the right graph, we can see the investment being made in the short term. So we can see that around 35% is associated with renewables, 5% with hydrogen, and 4% with T&D. But still, 54% remains linked to the oil and gas sector. So we can see that the clean energy industry is growing in the country, but oil and gas remains a driving force in the Brazilian market, as seen by the CAPEX figures. So the next slide, please. So now focusing on the hydrogen market in Americas and in Brazil. We can note that the Americas hold vast potential for green hydrogen development, with investments in the sector projected to reach up to $382 billion, with a total of 137 gigawatts of announced electrolyzer capacity to be installed. And leading this market, we have the US, which has a pipeline of clean hydrogen projects involving both the electrolyzer process and the deployment of carbon capture technologies as well. Followed by US, we have Chile, which positions itself as a leading hydrogen country in the global market, mostly due to its strategic renewable energy abundance, which is expected to enable the country to produce one of the most competitive cost green hydrogen globally. Brazil, in similar way to Chile, stands out as a key player in the Americas due to its vast renewable energy capacity and favorable conditions for production. Canada also appears with high investments in both blue and green hydrogen projects, mostly in the province of Alberta. And in fifth, we have Mexico, which is also receiving significant private investments in the sector as well. Up to date, the largest electrolyzer installed in South America is the 1.2 megawatts green hydrogen production facility at the Haruani e-fuels plant in Chile, developed by HIF Global. So now looking into Brazil, recently the Brazilian government received 70 proposals to develop low-carbon hydrogen hubs for industrial decarbonization, and the proposed capacities range from 1,000 to 350,000 tons per year, with costs ranging between $2 to $8 per kilogram of hydrogen produced. This initiative aligns with Brazil's national hydrogen strategy or program, which aims to establish hydrogen hubs by 2035 to reduce emissions in hard-to-abate sectors in the country. So moving on to the next slide, please. So now looking at the key states and developers in Brazil, we can see that key states like Piauí, Ceará, and Rio de Janeiro are emerging as potential hubs for green hydrogen projects. These states benefit from proximity to renewable energy sources and port infrastructure, which is essential for export, especially within the export processing zones, which are special economic zones that allow for free international commerce. In this sense, the Pecém industrial complex in the northeast Brazil, in Ceará, has emerged as a hotspot for large-scale green hydrogen projects. And up to date, 41 MOUs were signed with the complex, mainly being proposed with the goal of exporting green hydrogen and ammonia to the European offtake market, particularly through the port of Rotterdam in Netherlands. So to the right, we can see the key developers by CAPEX in the country. So we can see that the renewable energy sector is a significant driver in the Brazilian hydrogen economy, contributing its expertise in wind, solar, and hydroelectric power. So we can see that key players such as Casa dos Ventos and Voltalia are collaborating in the sector. So developers of large-scale wind farms and solar parks are particularly instrumental because they provide critical inputs needed for sustainable hydrogen production. So one of the most distinctive aspects of the hydrogen market is its capacity to foster cross-sector collaboration. So it has attracted interest from industries such as agriculture, mining, with Fortescue as the leading example, and also manufacturing. In agriculture, hydrogen is being utilized for fertilizer production and sustainable farming solutions. In the mining sector, it is deployed to power heavy machinery and support operations in remote areas. And meanwhile, in manufacturing, hydrogen is playing a really important role in decarbonizing industrial processes, especially in energy-intensive sectors like steel and cement production. So moving on to the next slide, please. So looking at the project pipeline in Brazil, we can see the evolution of number of announcements made in clean hydrogen projects in the country across all states. Through the left graph, we can see the increase in announcements of the sector over the years, which is maturing rapidly in recent years. So we can also see that this year has seen the largest number of announcements being made, and we can expect the next year to be an even more significant year in terms of announcements, especially due to the establishment of the regulatory framework. To the right, we can see the number of projects that are expected to reach startup by 2030. We can note that the majority of the large-scale projects proposed in Brazil are in initial stages of development, with the large amount being expected by analysts to initiate commercial operations beyond 2030. Until 2030, however, we can see a number of modular and small-scale electrolyzers being installed in the region. So in that sense, we can highlight Petrobras Alto do Rodrigues pilot project as an example, which is a project that has already selected WEG as its EPC contractor and expects commercial operations to begin in 2026. So moving on to the next slide, please. So in terms of key projects in Brazil, we can name some of them. In the Northeast, Green Energy Park and Solatio are planning 2 gigascale green hydrogen and ammonia production projects at the export processing zone of Parnaíba in Piauí, and both projects will be directed for export to Europe. So the Green Energy Park project is currently in detailed engineering phase and has already signed an MOU with Eletrobras for the provision of renewable electricity. Both Green Energy Park and Solatio projects together account for up to $32 billion in capex, making them 2 of the largest green hydrogen and ammonia projects in the world. For instance, Fortescue is developing a large-scale green hydrogen plant at the Pecém Port Industrial Complex in Ceará, and the production will be directed for export, and the project has recently received an installation approval and has already reached an early investment decision, with a final investment decision expected to be reached by 2025 in order to proceed with construction work. The Brazilian company CPFL Energia is also developing a pilot green hydrogen project in Rio Grande do Norte, and this project is interesting because it has already signed the first power purchase agreement, the PPA contract, for a green hydrogen project in Brazil. And the PPA has been signed between CPFL and Misul Cimentos, in which the project's hydrogen output will be directed to decarbonize Misul Cimentos cement factory in Baraúna. Now focusing on the southeast Brazil, Atlas Agro is developing a green fertilizer plant in Uberaba, Minas Gerais, and the project aims to reduce dependency of importation of foreign nitrogen fertilizers, mainly of Russian origin. And the project is expected to supply up to 30% of the nitrogen fertilizer demand in the region. And recently, finally, the Port of Açu, through its operator Prumo, has announced a partnership with Fuela for the first land reservation agreement for the development of a hydrogen hub at the port's complex. And the facility is planned to comprise up to 520 megawatts of electrolysis capacity, with estimated production of approximately 500,000 metric tons of green ammonia per year. So moving on to the next slide, please. So as final remarks, it's important to mention that the road ahead for the industry requires addressing challenges, especially related to the incipient local offtake market, domestic offtake market, and the current high costs of levelized hydrogen production. But a good point is the recently approved regulatory framework for the sector in Brazil, which fosters and creates an optimistic scenario for the industry, outlining certification, tax credits, and subsidies. We can also observe that a key component for the hydrogen sector in Brazil are the export processing zones, with its correlated port infrastructure, which allows industries to send most of their production to foreign markets, with the benefits of tax exemption and exchange rate freedom. And although incipient, Brazil also has potential domestic demand for green hydrogen, as large industrial sectors in the country, such as the steel and fertilizer industries, look to decarbonize its operations. So on to the next slide, please. So here I will give you a brief demonstration of two of our databases. The first one being the EAC data stream, which is the database that I use to gather insights for this presentation, and it's our CAPEX database. So please. So here you can see that I'm selecting a project among different sectors. Here I select hydrogen, and I put Brazil so I can filter the amount of projects that are being shown to me. And here you can see the list of green hydrogen projects in Brazil that we are currently tracking. Here I select the Fuelas project at the Port of Açu. And here is our operational asset database, the asset map. And here you can see all the active assets in the world. Here I'm showcasing the Americas, USA as an example. And here you can also see hydrogen facilities that are already operating in Brazil. And there's the Haruani, the largest electrolyzer. So moving on to the last slide, please. The next slide, please. Sorry. Alright, so I hope this presentation provided valuable insights into the Brazilian hydrogen market and its opportunities. If you have any questions or would like to discuss this topic further, please reach out to me via email. And thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Wow, Marco, thank you very much. That was definitely insightful. And did I hear the two biggest projects in the world are in Brazil? That's definitely very remarkable, and as a Brazilian, I definitely enjoy hearing that part. So now let's move forward for who actually has their hands in hydrogen, or no, we cannot touch it, but so that's not a good one. So while I can already see you, Daniel, but while we invite Daniel, I actually would like to invite everyone from their home or from their screens to participate with us. We actually have a question from everyone. It's very simple to participate. Just click on the screen, the option that best applies to you. So does your company already operate in the hydrogen market? Feel free to choose the option that is best. And while you are answering to this question, I'm going to introduce Daniel. So Dr. Daniel Gabriel Lopes is the founder and commercial director of Hydron, a Brazilian company belonging to the Newman Asset Group. With more than 20 years experience, Hydron is a pioneer in providing innovative solutions in the areas of energy and hydrogen for national and international markets. The company stands out for supplying equipment to produce hydrogen from renewable sources such as photovoltaics, wind power, and biofuels. He has a PhD in energy systems planning from Unicamp in 2009 and a master's in mechanical engineering from Unicamp in 2005, with a degree in mechanical engineering from Federal University of Ceará in 2003. So thank you very much for joining us today, Daniel. Let's see the results. So, wow, our audience here today, about almost 60% already are active in hydrogen. So we're talking to experts here, Daniel. I think your work is going to be a little bit more difficult. But we do have about 31% that are not yet active in this market, and probably 9% are either academy or associations that are not applicable to questions or other institutions. So thanks very much for everyone who replied to the survey, and welcome to our stage, Daniel. I'm passing over to you.
Thank you, Gladys, for the invitation. Thank you, Gabriel, too, for that, and thank you for the audience. And for me, it's a pleasure to be here for share with you what we are doing as a company that provide equipment and solutions for hydrogen production, compression, etc. So kindly move forward. we are Neumann and Esser, and inside the Neumann and Esser we have 5 pillars of solutions when we are talking about industrialization and hydrogen production and use. We are focused in consulting services, and here we are even involved with the R&D team, the research and development team. But we are electrolyzer manufacturer and steam reformer manufacturer. So as a manufacturer, we are providing the electrolyzers and reformer for the Brazilian, the Latin America, and worldwide, as I will show for you. But Neumann and Esser is almost 200 years old company that is a leader around the world providing hydrogen compressors and industrial compressors for different gases. In this case, we are focused to show to you our experience when we are talking about the hydrogen production and compression inside Neumann and Esser Group. And we have mills and classifiers that could be used for the energy sector as batteries and other applications. The Neumann and Esser Group, we are a family business since 1830, and we have as our the owners of our group, Alexander and Stephanie Peters. Please, the next one. As a global company, we are inside 15 countries around the world and provide our solutions with the global capillarity. Here in Brazil, the Neumann and Esser Brazil and Hydron, we are specialists and the excellence center for the Neumann and Esser Group regarding the hydrogen production around the world. And that's very important when we are highlighting the Latin America, for example, and the Americas, as Marco showed us, as an important player region regarding the hydrogen, the low carbon hydrogen production and consumption. So we can provide solutions from our region, for our region, and using our expertise around the world to do that the same thing in each country and region we are inside. So kindly the next one. And our solutions, the integration solutions we are providing, we are inside the value chain, the entire value chain of hydrogen, when we are considering the biogas production, the hydrogen production from electrolysis or biofuels, mainly biogas and ethanol. When we provide the hydrogen, we can compress that hydrogen using our compressor solutions for different kind of use, for logistics, for different size of storage, and for the mobility and industrial applications. When our clients needs, we can convert that hydrogen in electricity again using generations, fuel cells, or other kind of turbines and others. So Neumann and Esser is in charge and responsible to provide the entire solution for the client when we are talking about the hydrogen environment. The next one, please. So here in Brazil, we are focusing in the Brazilian region right now. We are more than 150 employees. We are based in Belo Horizonte, the capital of the state of Minas Gerais. And from Belo Horizonte, we are supplying the equipments we are supplying for the Latin America. The next one, please. We recently shared with you the inauguration of our expansion. We recently, 1 week ago, we did the inauguration of the new manufacturing area, the expansion of 4 times the Neumann and Esser in Brazil. And with that, we can provide in a containerized solution up to 70 megawatts per year of electrolyzers. But when we are talking about the biggest amount of equipment outside of containers, we can improve that capacity for plus 100 megawatt, integrating that equipment directly at the floor. So our focus here is to provide not only the electrolyzer, as I told you, but the electrolyzers, the compressors, and the steam reformer, depending of the inlets the client have, the feedstocks the client have, and the proposal of the application, the hydrogen application. Next one, please. Here I am sharing with you the expansion of our facility, the test center, and the innovation center of Neumann & Esser here in Brazil, the hydro infrastructure. Here we are in Campinas, the state of São Paulo, and inside the hydro facilities we have the possibility to approach directly with the special client from the electrical sector, oil and gas sector, and others, and creating new solutions together for the hydrogen environment. And in this test center we can even put a lot of efforts in monitoring, control, and test the new equipment for the hydrogen economy. Next one, please. So regarding the electrolyzers, we have our own solutions in a modularization way. We can provide up to 5 megawatt equipment, and in a modularized way, we can provide up to 50 megawatt solutions integrated. We already are supplying equipment up to 50 megawatt around the world. And here in Brazil, next slide please, we are providing demonstration project up to 30 megawatt. As you know, the first initiatives here in Latin America are providing the right demonstrations of the hydrogen production inside the low carbon hydrogen economy, to prove the concept, to show the clients and how to produce, how to use, and how will be the leverage cost of the hydrogen in practice. And as we are here as a pioneer, we are providing that technology together with our clients to show the real case and the references for the hydrogen economy in the future. And as you could see in the Marcos presentation, the potential the potential to increase the use of that kind of range step by step is being a reality here in Brazil. The next one, please. So here I just share with you some of our projects. The first 10 megawatt class electrolyzer installed inside the Pecém port. Our client was the EDP, and this equipment manufactured here in our facilities in Belo Horizonte is operational since 2022, providing the green hydrogen, certified green hydrogen for this client since 2022. Next one. Here another project in Chile. Our client is ENAP. In this case, we are providing a megawatt class electrolyzer plus the hydrogen refilling station to demonstrate the use of hydrogen mixed with natural gas in Chile, and the application of hydrogen in mobility. So that's a very important project for the Latin America too. Next one, please. here, Neumann and Esser inside supplying technology in a megawatt class for the steel production sector in Brazil. So this project is a very important project because we started to create that demonstration in a real condition, in a steel production condition here in Brazil. And one of the projects, Marcos showed the project with CPFL and Mizu. We are together in this project. That project is an R&D project with Hydron, where we will provide the entire solution for hydrogen production, oxygen production, and use of that two gas in a cement applications. Next one. Another example here, we are talking about hydrogen refueling station using electrolyzer to produce hydrogen and store that hydrogen in a low pressure and a high pressure to use that hydrogen even in a genset generation with fuel cell and to provide hydrogen to refuel vehicles with that low hydrogen, low carbon hydrogen. That project is inside the state of Minas Gerais, it's University of Itajubá, in a partnership with the government of Germany and Brazil. Next one. And finishing. So I want to share with you our fuel reformers. Here, next slide, please. The concept is to use the biofuels. We are, our region, Brazil is a very important player regarding the biofuels production. In this case, we can use ethanol or biomethane, different kind of equipment to produce hydrogen, low carbon hydrogen, and biogenic CO2. In this case, we have a very, very important partnership with Shell. Next slide, please. In this project called Ethanol to Hydrogen, Shell, Raízen, and Hydron, we are leading this project and the technology, the development that use the logistics to supply ethanol, to distribute ethanol inside our country and internationally as a hydrogen carrier, and producing hydrogen next to the use utilize ethanol reformer for that. So in this case, we have the sugarcane production, the ethanol production, and next to the client, we use our technology to produce ultra-pure hydrogen for mobility in the first phase. In this phase, we are together with University of São Paulo and Senai Certificate and Toyota and Marco Polo, where we will provide the first HRS around the world that the hydrogen will be produced from ethanol, and this project will be inaugurated in the next month. So up to March of the next year, we will have this project running. And to finalize the presentation, we have the compressors unit, next one, please. And the aftermarket, the after sales market, providing not only the technology but the aftermarket solutions for the client directly in the client's region. So thank you again for the invitation, and Clarice, please.
Thank you, Daniel. Wow, I think we should have brought some champagne to celebrate the new factory. It's a pity we're doing this virtual, but I'm already going to leave you with the invitation for in-person events in 2025, and we can meet face to face. It's very exciting. Hydrogen from ethanol, and wow, so many nice perspectives. So thanks for the presentation. and going to invite next our next speaker. But please now stay with us for the Q&A session, okay? So welcome Mauro. While I introduce you and the setup, again, I would like to invite the audience, everyone joining us from the screens everywhere in the world. Please help us answer which hydrogen derived product do you believe will have the greatest market acceptance? Will it be green ammonia, sustainable aviation fuel, or e-methanol? So while there's this big debate going on, let me introduce Mauro. Mauro is an economist with a specialization in economic theory from FGV and an MBA in oil and gas from Kopi UFRJ, and a master's degree in economics from AMI UFRJ, as well as training in executive programs such as the HAAS, the School of Business at the University of California, Berkeley. With over 20 years of experience in the upstream industry, Andrade worked for 3 years in the National Petroleum Agency, so-called ANP, and for 7 years at Deloitte as a business consultant, supporting clients from the US, UK, and Brazil. In 2009, he joined Equinor, where he held several leadership positions, such as VP of External and Regulatory Affairs, Supply Chain for South America, and International Supply Chain. As late as 2020, he has a senior consultant role for the new renewable business development for the Norwegian Company. So now he's acting as business development director at Tromo. Mauro, welcome to our stage. Let's see the question to our poll, the answer to our poll. Feel free to, yes, team, please feel free to share the results here on the screen with us. Okay, what we have, green ammonia coming first, and then second, almost the same results is half battling with e-methanol. So thanks everyone for sharing your opinions with us. And Mauro, we can see you and I think we can already hear you. Let's check.
Very good morning. Thank you, Clarissa. Thanks, EIC, for the invitation to participate in this webinar. Since we are talking about hydrogen opportunities, before jumping into presentation of Prumo and showing what we're trying to do here, perhaps I should do a bit of a provoking thought about why it's lasting, why it's taking so long for us to see the hydrogen projects, not only in Brazil but elsewhere, to materialize, to become reality, to be sanctioned. And I think this is a fair questioning. It's actually a part of a journey where people got from the idea to conceptual projects, and then from conceptual projects to business cases, and from business cases to the final economics. And what we see is that despite the fact that we have advanced a lot and we have already optimized a lot of projects, the average cost of green hydrogen is still expensive when you compare to other sources today. Of course, this is not a negative. We shouldn't be negative about that. We should be actually positive about the journey that we've made so far to bring these projects to become more economic and more competitive. But the truth is, if you see the public call made by the Ministry of Mines and Energy in Brazil that was recently released and shared the results, the average cost of the projects of green hydrogen in Brazil is ranging between $4 and $5 per kilo, which is by all means competitive when you compare to other benchmarks, but it is still, as I said, expensive for the majority of applications. So, of course, that we have projects that are as competitive as probably $2.5 per kilo, which is excellent by all means. But it underpins my point, which is we should keep pushing all the competitive leverages that we have in Brazil to try to make this feasible and cheaper. Because only by doing that we'll be able to implement the projects on large scale in Brazil. Having said that, I would like to share with you a little bit what we've been doing in trying to materialize these projects here at Porto do Açu in the north of Rio de Janeiro state. If we move to the next slide, just to present you quickly, I work for Prumo as a business development officer in Prumo, and Prumo is a holding company that controls or has participation in 7 joint ventures. All of these joint ventures are located inside of Porto do Açu. And in addition to this joint venture, you also have clients that are industrial clients and service clients that are based in Porto do Açu, in a total of 25 companies, becoming one of the most relevant ecosystems for industry in the Rio de Janeiro state. If we move to the next slide, just to share with you that the port is relatively young port. We are, as I said, located in the north of Rio de Janeiro state. We pretty much serve the oil and gas industry today because we are proximity of the port with the oil and gas fields, as you can see from this slide. It's obvious, but we are preparing ourselves to be an industrial port connected to the low carbon business. I'll come back to that in a moment. In the next slide, just to also share with you the importance of this port, which is a private port. This is a fully private port, the only fully private port in Brazil. It's a relatively young port. We only have 10 years in operation, but we are already a relevant infrastructure for the country, responsible, for example, for more than 35% of the Brazilian crude exports. We have 3 gigawatts of thermal power plants, gas-fired thermal power plants inside of the port. By the way, these power plants are already built and ready to burn hydrogen, to use hydrogen as a fuel when hydrogen becomes competitive. If we move to the next slide, just to illustrate that what we're trying to do here in Porto do Açu is to put the green hydrogen at the center of our strategy and to use the competitive advantages that we have in the port to produce that green hydrogen and use that green hydrogen as a local feedstock for local industrialization. So our strategy and our bet was always not to produce vast amounts of green hydrogen to convert into green ammonia to export. Of course we can do that, but we strongly believe that the most competitive way and the most interesting way for Brazil to get the upsides from its competitiveness on the production of green hydrogen is actually to use that green hydrogen to produce products, byproducts, clean fuels, green fertilizers, and also for the decarbonization of the steel industry. So in Porto do Açu specifically, we are dealing mainly with 3 major projects. We have decided to last year to start an environmental licensing for an area of 1 million square meters inside of the port for green ammonia, green hydrogen, e-methanol. We were successfully granted the preliminary environmental license, and I think that was a right step in the right direction to be able to attract future investors in this domain. If we jump to the next slide, one more please. This is just an illustration of the port, so we can jump one more. Yeah, so this is what I was referring to. So we have made a license of an environmental license in an area of 1 million square meters. And within that license, we have discussed with the environmental authorities the maximum limits upon which we could produce green hydrogen, green ammonia, and e-methanol. And because of that, we have started to attract a lot of investors. And currently, we have 3 projects that are most advanced that we are maturing inside of the Porto do Açu. One is with Fuela, that is a company with Swiss capital and also Norwegian capital. They are planning to produce green ammonia in Brazil. They originally were thinking about exporting this green ammonia, but they've realized that there is a niche market in Brazil for ammonia nitrate green fertilizers in Brazil that could be used in certain crops. Let's remember that it's not all the crops that will be able to recover a premium price for being made with green fertilizers. So we need to focus on those that can capture this premium on the final market. Probably coffee, maybe cotton, but there isn't a market in Brazil for that. A second project with HIF, HIF Global, the same company that produces synthetic gasoline in Chile. They are discussing and maturing a project with Porto do Açu for e-methanol, for 200,000 tons of e-methanol per year in the first phase. An integrated project where they're going to produce their own green hydrogen and do the conversion of this green hydrogen with the methanol synthesis using also biogenic CO2 that will come from the region. For those that are not aware, that the region where Porto do Açu is located used to be, back in the 80s and 90s, a very important sugarcane region in Brazil. The sugarcane plantation has moved to São Paulo countryside, but these areas are now being reused. These areas that became degraded are now being reused for planting biomass to produce biogenic CO2. So, all in all, our concept is heavily based on the concept of the ecosystem, where I can have in the same location the infrastructure of an inbound and outbound logistics that a port can provide. I have the existing transmission lines and substations, because I have, as I've mentioned, thermal power plants in place, so I have already the infrastructure to carry and bring vast amounts of energy into the port without necessarily doing reinforcements. We have availability of water from multiple sources, including reused water from an iron ore pipeline that we have arrived in the port, so we can use that water to produce green hydrogen. And by building those enablers, we believe that we can have one of the most competitive green hydrogen productions in the country. As I said before, focusing on green ammonia for green fertilizers, focus on e-methanol, and also focusing on the production of hot briquetted iron for the steel mills, for the decarbonization of the steel industry, is the step on the right direction to use the green hydrogen to produce byproducts. So initially, just to say, coming back to my initial statement before the presentation starts, why is taking this so long? It's because in the end, the off-taker needs to be there. The off-taker needs to have a certainty that we'll be able to pay and to put those products in different markets around the world. And I think Brazil is really doing the necessary measures to capture the opportunity that we have of abundance of renewable energy, of an existing grid system that is integrated nationwide. So basically you can produce green hydrogen with energy from the grid with certificates in almost any part of the country. So I think we should, as a country, aim to become an exporter of byproducts, clean fuels made by green hydrogen, rather than just trying to export midway projects or only green ammonia, which of course there's a market for it. There's nothing wrong with that, but we should aim to use the hydrogen as a source for industrialization of the country. I think I'll stop here and open for questions. I don't know, Paris, if you want to go ahead, but we can stop here.
Yes. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. No, that was a good overview, and I think from Rio, I feel very proud to have such a robust port. And I really enjoy when you use the word enabler. It's very important to see companies, to see anyone actually acting as enablers, especially private-owned companies offering such an opportunity, especially to new markets and as hydrogen. So the gas support is definitely playing an important role there, Mauro. You all should be proud of that. So yes, thanks for opening for questions. Yes, I invite all our speakers back, and I would actually like to invite to moderate this session Gabrielle as well, and from ABH2. Are you online? Yes, I can see you.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And just as a reminder, the audience, feel free, you can send your questions through the chat, but if not, feel free to carry on. So Gabriel, passing over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clarice, and thank you so much for our excellent speakers for their excellent presentations. It's very good to see the projects taking form here in Brazil. I am in contact with Bruno, Poço do Sul, and Hydron. I have been for a long time, since almost the creation of the Brazilian Hydrogen Association. It's very good to see the projects launching. So I do have a question from the audience that I think that is applicable to both. We just had the hydrogen legal framework released in the second semester of this year. This was a very long process, but a very well thought one. And yeah, I'd like to ask, what does our speakers, Daniel and Mauro, think about the framework that was just launched, and if they think that there is a need for any other public support for the projects to actually be start producing.
I can take that first, if you don't mind, Daniel. I think, first of all, extremely important that the regulatory framework was approved, because without that we don't know the size of the envelope that we can operate. Now we know. When it comes to further public policies and incentives for this, I think it's clear for everyone that all the projects in the world and all the countries in the world that are moving forward with sanctioning and taking final investment decision in the world, these countries have public policies incentivizing and subsidizing in different shapes and forms the green hydrogen industry. We don't have a lot of fiscal space in Brazil to do that, so we should not aim for having a too aggressive incentive package or subsidy package, because Brazil has many other different needs, so it will be difficult for the industry to advocate on that behalf. However, there are some mechanisms that the Brazilian administration could put in place that would help tremendously the industry. And I will mention a few here. One is to reduce taxes on the supply of renewable energy. Also to zero taxes on products made with green hydrogen, because those products are not made of today, so you basically, the tax that you get from these products is zero because they don't exist. So if you zero these projects, these taxes for new products made from green hydrogen, you could boost the industry. And I think we shouldn't be ashamed of talking about public policies. Public policies can be a good mechanism to develop the industry, as long as they have a time to finish, and as long as the government is able to calculate the benefits that those public policies will bring to generate jobs, wealth, income, and industrialization. So there are the needs to think and be creative and put in public policy, additional public policies that could help even further the industry in Brazil.
Perfect. I totally agree, Mario, with you. The importance of that for our country itself, and to demonstrate around the world how will be the Brazilian position regarding the low carbon hydrogen scenario. That's a very important first step. But we are waiting for the all the normatives, all the regulations regarding the Brazilian wall. And for adding a little bit the same mindset Mauro shared with us, I think we could have the possibility to increase the Brazilian leadership using our own market, internal market, to promote that hydrogen production and the other products that use the hydrogen as a feedstock. And I think we need to be aligned. Mauro showed us the potential we have only in a support to industrialize a lot the region, and we need to do that with that industrialization here in Brazil. So I think that the other point is how to convince and how to approach the industrial market and be attractive for that, to create the industrial environment ecosystem here in Brazil, to provide the equipment and the products that we use, the green hydrogen or the low carbon hydrogen in that new industrial approach in our country. And for the end, I think we need to exchange a little bit the mindset when we are talking about the green products, because we can't compare in the same page, in the same values, the fossil products with the renewable products. So sometimes I feel as incoherent. We compare, for example, the hydrogen price, the green hydrogen price, with other fossil fuels, with the energy transition worldwide. So I think we need to have more other tools to present. We are decarbonizing the world using that kind of technology, that kind of mindset. So I think we already have the first steps, the law, the strong law, the very Brazilian structured contest, because we can't only follow the other countries when we are creating our own law for hydrogen production. But we have other opportunities in our hands. For example, the last one, we have one of the lowest cost of electricity generation in our country, but a highest price for the same electricity. So what is inside of that price? How can we use the costs, not the price, to produce new products and to incentive that new industrialization? I think that are the next steps we will need to think together for the next years. And we have here the Hydrogen Brazilian Association to help us to do that the right way.
Thank you very much, Mauro and Daniel. We are approaching the end of our time. We still have some 4 minutes. And well, I'd like to ask one question for each. First of all, Mauro. And with that, I would also like to ask you to be as briefly as possible within our time. But yeah, you spoke to us that the court is looking to have high aggregated value or high value added products produced with hydrogen, and to export those instead of hydrogen. And this is a very good approach. Well, because it develops the economy, it brings down the social inequalities, and there's just advantages of producing high aggregated value instead of just exporting the molecule. Does the Prum or does Portobus already have the infrastructure to have this conglomerates, but this factory is near where hydrogen is produced in the port, or is it looking to have it?
No, what we're trying to do with this three projects that I've mentioned to you, one for SAF, one for e-methanol, and one for green ammonia, is actually to build all the enablers that are needed for developers to come here and develop their projects. There's no fabrication sites inside of Porto Iguaçu to deliver electrolyzers or other parts of the BOP. I would very much welcome that Hydro would have this factory inside of Porto. That would be great. But what we can see is that if we are able to deliver these projects and start to build an ecosystem here, you might have also the installation of part of the supply chain here in the port to be able to support the clients here. But all in all, our strategy is actually to build what we call the enablers, is to guarantee that there will be a fixed flow of energy into the port without interruptions, that will be able to certificate this energy that we are bringing through the grid, that we are going to have the right quality of the water from reusage, that we have the right infrastructure for inbound and outbound logistics to not only build the plant but also to export the byproducts. So that is a bit where our mindset is at this moment. And by the way, I haven't mentioned that the results of the query that you made before my presentation, the way we see is the other way around. We see for Brazil and for the world, SAF and e-methanol first, and then immediately after green ammonia. That's the market, and that's how the market is responding to us.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for the insights, Mauro. And going back to Daniel, you mentioned about the electrolyzers and the reformers. And can we have a hint about the lead time and the prices of the capex for those electrolyzers from Hydro and that?
That's a very difficult question, because that depends on the size of the equipment, the use of the purity of the hydrogen. But I can answer you in the next way. We are step by step increasing the amount of references, the amount of projects, and the clients around the world, not only here in Brazil. Nowadays we are selling our equipment for Europe, different countries in Europe, for Brazil, Chile, United States. So approaching the Asia with our solutions. That's the facility we have because we are a global company. And step by step, the clients are understanding Neumann and Esser as a very important supplier and a very important player. So as we are selling our solutions, I think we are with the right price and the right approach with the market. And the next way to approach that question is we aren't working only with one technology. When we see our competitors around the world, they are very focused in produce hydrogen from electricity, obviously. Even for us, 95% of our demands are for the use of electrolyzers. But the total solution approach is quite different inside the market. So as Neumann and Esser is providing not only the hydrogen production, but the hydrogen compressor, the integration of that, the integration with the industrial use, the mobility, etc. When the client is touching the project and thinking about not only the capex, but the total amount of efforts and values, we are really very competitive. And in our region, up to now, we are the only manufacturers here, and we are here to stay. That's the mantra we have inside the Neumann and Esser. And increasing, nowadays we are increasing our facilities in Chile, for example, creating a Neumann and Esser Chile, We are doing that right now. Neumann Ernst Brazil is here up to 30 years. So that's the condition. We need to share. We are together with a support. We have the honor to help with the first approach. Since the first approach regarding the environmental licenses, we are here together with all of the partners, with all of the serious company to provide the right environment. And I think that needs to be our mindset together. We need to be closer. We need to be aligned, and we need to work together to create the opportunities and
to make the market happen. Yeah.
And add value for all of us.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And we unfortunately don't have any more time. I'd like to thank you so much, our speakers, and I pass it back to you, Clarice.
Well, that was very rich discussion as well, so adding even more good comments. And I'm going to now conclude this part of the webinar and invite whoever is interested in joining our delegates and our speakers, if you would like to join us for the second part on the Studio Twine. That's a very easy to use tool where you can talk to the people that have participated here with us for 2 or 3 minutes and interact with the audience. So feel free to join us. The link is being shared under the question tab, but if not, you also received on your emails. And we'll be hosting this session there as long as you would like to join us for. It's very easy to use the platform. So my advice is, once you join, just add your name and job title. Don't bother about including your photo or anything. So just click, go to the next screen, log in, and check the microphone and click Save Settings. And then when you go to the next screen, it's about you need to join the conversation button. So it's as simple as that. Don't worry about doing any setup, because you'll be seeing the camera with the person. So don't be worried about setting it up. And you need to join every conversation so that you are ready for the next one. That's my only advice. So enjoy the sessions. And if I don't see you next, I would like to suggest to tell everyone to have a happy season, happy festivities, depending on what you celebrate now in the year-end, or just a happy break. I hope you can all briefly come back in the year-end, even with more energy and more hydrogen or more CCS or whatever source of energy you're using. Thanks again. Thanks for the AC team. Thanks for our speakers today. And a special thanks for the amazing audience that stayed with us connected throughout the end. So see you next time. Thank you.